Hello and welcome to Truth Lab, where we use the lenses of science, philosophy, and theology to discover truth. Today we dig further into how atheism hijacked science with part 2 of the series. In part 1, we talked about when atheism hijacked science. Today, we let the scientists speak for themselves. There's something powerful about hearing the truth straight from the people who shaped the modern scientific worldview. Because these quotes don't show science doing its job. They show a worldview that decides the answers before the investigation begins. Let's begin. It is wrong for a man of science to say he believes in God. This is a quote by Thomas Huxley, aka Darwin's bulldog. This wasn't a scientific discovery, it was a cultural command. Huxley wasn't describing science, he was redefining the scientist. What he was saying, in essence, is that all scientists should be atheists. He helped shape the modern academic view that believing in God disqualifies you from objectivity. This is where science must be secular became a rule, not a conclusion. Now for one of the most revealing statements ever made by scientist, Richard Lewontin, Harvard geneticist. We have a prior commitment to materialism. We cannot allow a divine foot in the door. Read that again. A prior commitment. Before the evidence, before the experiment, before the conclusion. Lewontin openly admitted that the gatekeeping isn't about data, it's about protecting a worldview. This is the clearest confession that the rules of science were rewritten, not by nature, but by philosophy. Sir Francis Crick, co-discoverer of DNA, revealed more than most people realize. On one hand, he told biologists must constantly keep in mind that what they see was not designed, but evolved. Notice what he didn't say. He didn't say the evidence shows there's no design. He said biologists must keep in mind that there isn't. That's not science, that's a mental filter, a worldview reminder, a philosophical assumption masquerading as a scientific duty. But Crick went even further. In life itself, he admitted there are really only two possibilities for the origin of life, either spontaneous generation or a supernatural act of creation. Then Crick pointed out that spontaneous generation is not supported by the evidence, and that the origin of life appears almost like a miracle because so many conditions would have to be perfectly satisfied. So why not consider design? Crick tells us, the scientific view has always excluded divine intervention. In other words, design isn't rejected because of evidence, it's rejected because the rules were written to rule God out in advance. And since he refused to consider the creator, Crick proposed one of the most desperate ideas in modern biology, that life was seeded on Earth by aliens, not because the evidence pointed there, but because his worldview demanded it. Jacques Monod, Nobel Prize biochemist, one of the most influential atheists in modern biology, wrote, "Man must at last wake out of his millenary dream and discover his total solitude. The universe was not pregnant with life." Monod insists, not demonstrates, that life is purposeless, that humans are alone, that the universe is cold, empty, and indifferent. These are not lab results, these are worldview declarations, and they drive how countless scientists today interpret the origin of life. Are you beginning to see a pattern here? Are you still in denial that atheism hijacked science? Well, stay tuned for more. George Gaylord Simpson, evolutionary biologist, said, "Man is the result of a purposeless and natural process that did not have him in mind." Again, this is philosophy. Purpose is not testable, measurable, or observable. Calling nature purposeless is a worldview assumption, not a scientific conclusion. But statements like this shaped how an entire generation talks about evolution. Let's not forget about Carl Sagan. Sagan opened Cosmos with a line that millions memorized. "The cosmos is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be." This is not science, this is metaphysics, a statement of total philosophical naturalism baked into a TV show and sold as fact. It became the unofficial creed of modern scientific culture. Steven Weinberg, Nobel Prize in Physics, famously said, "The more the universe seems comprehensible, the more it also seems pointless." A scientist sees order and concludes pointlessness. Why? Because his worldview demands it. This shows exactly why science today often interprets facts through the lens of atheism, even when the data points elsewhere. Every quote in this video has one thing in common. None of them are scientific conclusions. They're worldview commitments, statements made before experiments. Philosophical filters are put over the evidence, rules designed to control which explanations are allowed. This is why design is rejected automatically, why purpose is dismissed without debate, why God is excluded before the investigation even begins. The hijacking wasn't done by data, it was done by ideology. Science is powerful when it follows truth, but when science follows a pre-approved worldview, you don't get discovery, you get dogma. If you want to dive deeper into this conversation, into science, philosophy, theology, and how truth fits them together, check the pinned comment for my book. Like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still believes science has no worldview, because the scientists themselves say otherwise.